Okay, in this lecture we're going to talk about what's called the discriminant, which is part of the quadratic formula. Remember, the quadratic formula can always allow you to find the solution to the quadratic equation in standard form, and it's given by x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now it's this part here that's called the discriminant. Okay, we sometimes write this funny little symbol here, uppercase delta, to be the discriminant. Now this discriminant tells us a few things about the solutions that are possible for a quadratic equation. Right, so for example, let's suppose I take b squared minus 4ac, and let's suppose that this is positive. Okay, so let's put if this thing is positive and a perfect square. Right, for example, this value here comes out to be something like 4 or 16 or 9 or something like that. And A, B and C, an important restriction here is they're integers, then I'd be able to find the square root of this as a integer, and subtracting an integer gives me an integer divided by 2 times a would be an integer, so I'm going to get an integer, a rational number result. So I'm going to get a rational solution. Alright, in fact we'll get 2 because of this plus or minus. Okay, so we're going to get 2 rational solutions. Now what if b squared minus 4ac is still positive but not a perfect square? For example, let's suppose this number under here then is something like 17. So I'm going to have this integer plus or minus the root of 17, which is irrational, over this integer here, so I'm going to have an irrational solution, and of course we still have 2, so we're going to get 2 irrational solutions. Alright, now what if we have this b squared minus 4ac, or discriminant, comes out to be 0? Then if it comes out to be 0, the square root of 0 is still 0, plus or minus 0 doesn't make any difference. I just get negative b over 2a. So this is going to imply that we only have one. We call it a double solution, and when we come to talk about graphs you'll see why. Alright, a double solution. Right, so 1, and of course it will be rational because it's negative b over 2a. Okay. Now if b squared minus 4ac, right, is negative, less than 0, then we'll be finding the square root of a negative number, which means we're going to get an I out the front here as an imaginary part. So again, in this case, we're going to get a 2 again because of the plus or minus. We're going to get 2 non-real complex solutions. Non-real because we'll have a number here plus or minus I by a number here. Alright, so let's do some examples of how we can identify the kinds of solutions that are possible. Right, determine the number of distinct, now distinct means different, alright, distinct solutions, and identify whether they are rational, irrational, or non-real complex numbers. Right, part A. Let's suppose I have 4x squared minus 12x plus 9 equals 0. Well, what's my discriminant? My discriminant minus b squared minus 4ac is going to be, b is here, so it's negative 12 squared minus 4 times a by c. And this comes out to be 144 minus, what's this going to be, 16 times 9 is going to be 144, which will be 0. So since this is 0, we come here and we see we have 1 distinct, so we have 1 distinct rational, alright, solution. Right, let's do part B. Suppose I have 3x squared plus x equals negative 5. First thing is, this implies that we have 3x squared plus x plus 5 equals 0. So my discriminant would be b squared minus 4ac would be 3 squared minus 1 squared, because there's 1 in front of the x, 1 squared minus 4 times a is 3 by c is 5, so I'll end up with 1, subtract, 4 3s are 12, 12 5s are 60, so I end up with negative 59. So since I get negative 59, there's going to be, come up here we have a negative, so I'm going to have 2 non-real complex solutions. So, and they're going to be distinct because they're going to be plus or minus, alright, different thing, the same thing here. And so we'll get 2 different answers. So we'll have 2, alright, distinct, non-real, complex solutions. Alright, let's do part C. Let's suppose I have 2x squared equals 6x plus 7. This implies that I have 2x squared minus 6x minus 7 equals 0. So my b squared minus 4ac is going to be negative 6 squared minus 4a is 2 and c is negative 7. So I'm going to end up with 36 plus, negative by negative is plus, 8 7s are 56, which is going to be, that's going to be 80, 92. Alright, now 92 is positive, but not a perfect square. Alright, so that's this one up here, and so we're going to have 2 distinct irrational solutions. And that's how we use the discriminant to determine or identify the kinds of solutions that the quadratic equation will have.